first I knew about you was reading your long and hard to pronounce name on album covers, because every time I would pick up a great Latin rock album, rock en español album, there would be your name on the back. And these were bands from Mexico, these were bands from Argentina, these were bands from all over the place. I mean, you weren't just Argentine, you were very, it seemed very consciously bringing together Latin America. Was that a mission?
I had a vision of a unified Latin America and a connection, and Hispanic America. I think the possibility of being in Los Angeles gave me the chance to actually tap from there to all these different countries and have the technology to make the records that I always wanted to make. I mean, making records in Argentina, when I started, it was always a little frustrating. Because
I was going to ask you, you're a teenager, you're producing Arco Iris. Where are you recording? Are you recording in somebody's basement?
No, actually, it's a funny thing, because at the beginning of the movement, there were still the old engineers recording, and as a matter of fact, the record sounded better. Then there was a period when actually, the friends, the sound men from the band started, recording, and it really the level and the quality of the recording went down. At the beginning with the first album of Arco Iris, which came, in a mono and stereo version, it was recorded by these, old school engineers that really knew how to place a microphone and really knew how to work the compressors and all that. But I've always felt, that really in the United States, especially, and in England too. I mean, they were making the records, the rock records that really excite me. And now I was in Los Angeles, I had the opportunity to have access to make those records. And I always felt that in terms of creativity in Latin America, we had, as good or sometimes better talent than some of the things that were happening in the United States or in England. To start with, for alternative music, we have incredible context, the whole social, political, economic, cultural situation in Latin America. It's a perfect place, to brew this talent that is associated with alternative music. I come from a generation in which, music had that component that is so important. It's still so important for me. I think music has the power to transform people. I still believe that.
I was also thinking, you're a songwriter and a soundtrack writer, and it seems like they're very different skills, because the song has to be everything. The song has to be the foreground and the background.
Absolutely.
And so being a soundtrack composer, it's much more modest, it's much more humble in a way.
Yeah, because the storytelling is happening in the front. I mean, when you have a song, the singer usually is the guy, it's the guy that is telling you the story. I always also, anyhow, I always think of music very much in visual terms, and I've been told this before even I did music for films, that, my music had this visual quality. But yes, music in films, you have to restrain, the way I work, you have to restrain yourself. I also work differently than most composers do. As a matter of fact, I don't consider myself a film composer. I consider myself more an artist that does many different things in different forums. I play with a band, Bajo Fondo, I produce records, I do my solo stuff, and sometimes I do movies or a video game if it's something that I, vibrate with. But usually the way film composers, which are people that are dedicated to just do that work, is they get the film when it's done, it's edited, and it's temped with some music that is, taken from other films, and then the composer kind of, it's trapped in this situation and trying to, to follow the temp.
You want to write the song, but not write the song.
Claro.
It's already there.
Y como copiar lo que ya está ahí, pero no del todo para que no sea un plagio. Entonces, a mí nunca me gustó, no soy de esa partida. I've always liked to work from the script. I like to come as much as I can early in a project and actually provide the director with music. So almost all the films that I've done, big portions, I would say 70% of the music, have been done before seeing or before even having anything on film. Wow. And the biggest example is Brokeback Mountain. I mean, the whole score of Brokeback Mountain was done before they shot one frame.
Wow.
So Ang Lee lived with that music, actually played the music to the actors. And then it was his genius to say, I'm going to put this here, I'm going to repeat this here. He had all this full, basket full of different things that I related to the story or to the characters, but it was obviously his genius to put it in place.
Well, had you thought, oh, this music will go with this scene?
No.
You just wanted the feeling of the whole...
No, I don't. And it's so the first time I saw the first cut of Brokeback Mountain, it was spooky because it looked like, como que estaba hecho para eso, perfecto. Pero no. I like to work more than way than to image.
Well, a lot of the bands you've recorded with, Juanes in Colombia, Café Tacuba, these are musicians who change the social fabric at home. Did you choose bands that you felt shared your ideals?
Absolutely. I mean, I've always worked with artists that I felt have a very strong vision. There's different kinds of producers. Sometimes people, don't know really what a producer does. They think producer is the guy that puts the money to make the record.
It's not like films.
Especially in our countries. But there's different kinds of producer, and we're talking about the artistic side of making a record, because there's an art of writing a song. There's an art of executing a song, interpreting it, arranging it. But then there's an art of turning all of that into a record. That's an art form too, and that has to do with what the producer can do. And there's different kinds of producers. There's the producers that actually build the whole scenario, just put a guy in front of or a girl in front of a microphone and let them sing, and they're incredible at doing that, fantastic. That's not the kind of producer that excite me, and that's not the kind of work that I do. I like to work with very strong, opinionated artists, not like, we, in the United States, say yes people. These are not people that are going to say, sí, Gustavo, sí, Gustavo, sí, Gustavo. These are very, very, from Molotov to Julieta Venegas, from the Kronos Quartet to, to Versuit.
And I want to say all of these groups sound exactly the same once you're done with them. I mean, you have a string quartet and you have a punk band there. I mean, that's a very big range.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of what attracts me too. I mean, the diversity, because I believe music is divided in two categories, buena o mala. Good and bad music. There's in every genre of music, there's good music and bad music, and I'm really attracted to all kinds of music. So I've always leaned toward artists that I felt have a very strong vision, that were bringing something new to the table, and that somehow demand a challenge from me, because those artists, you have to gain their confidence to be able to do your work,
Sure.
So all those bands, Maldita Vecindad or Divididos, Prisioneros, I mean, all these guys have something say, you know, have something to comment on our world, on life and everything that comes with it. And those are the artists that I'm always interested in, and those are the ones that attract me. And I've been lucky enough to produce more than 100 albums, and most of them have been of new artists that, you know, I'm not going to say that I discovered them, but that I was in part responsible for them being known. More than 30 years ago, when I left Argentina, I wrote this song. It's a song about integrity. It's called No existe fuerza en el mundo. And it's a song that a friend of mine from Argentina, a dear friend of mine that I mentioned today, Leon Gieco, recorded in that album called Dios vaya la Quiaca too. And by then, at that time, you know, Leon was friend with this beautiful person and show the song. She really loved the song, and she recorded the song in 1987. And I never had the opportunity I knew exactly who she was, but I never had the opportunity to meet with her and to thank her, you know, for doing a cover of my song. And you know, when I just arrived in Madrid a couple of days ago, in the evening, at a dinner, I met her, and I had this wonderful opportunity to thank her. And I want to invite her to sing this song with me. This is the one and only true legend that also started in this theater, I believe, when she was 15 years old. Ladies and gentlemen, Ana Belén.
No existe fuerza en el mundo que pueda parar la voz. No hay vitamina que alcance cuando del alma es la tos. Cuando sabemos lo que tenemos y transparente todo lo vemos. No existe bota o zapato que pueda pisarnos hoy, ni rascacielos que rasquen cuando pica el corazón. Cuando paramos de darnos cuerda, como si nada, se abren las puertas. No existe ciudad en el globo que pueda atraparme hoy, que pueda atraparme No hay suficientes misiles para bajarme la voz, ni reacciones en cadena si no muevo de eslabón. Cuando los locos se están matando, entre las balas me voy silbando. No existe sable en el mundo que pueda partirme en dos, que pueda partirme en
Gustavo.
Ana Belén.